today. And there are a few seats left if you're wanting to work on your tan. Hopefully everybody has sunscreen. And we'll gather around as much as we can. This is a great day today. I want to welcome you to this grand opening of the Jackson Street Youth Shelter Albany House. And this has been, yay! Yes! It has been a long time coming. My name is Kate Connolly. I'm the pastor at Albany First United Methodist Church, and I'm vice president of the Jackson Street Board, and we're just delighted to have you here. The reason why we're able to gather today is because of the amazing support of so many members of the community, and I know that some of you are among them, and also the amazing staff that we have at Jackson Street. And that has culminated in this shelter that has come into being. It's really important for us to remember today why it is so important to have this shelter. The youth of our community who are homeless or at risk or are runaway, they share some of the same characteristics of youth that are homeless from across the country. They have had to flee situations of great turmoil and conflict within their homes, and to flee abuse, neglect, and increasingly poverty. And obviously when you're homeless, it so impairs your ability to get an education. It is such a detriment to developing certain essential life skills. And kids that are homeless, they don't know how to cook. Well, that's some of the rest of us too. But cooking, housekeeping, budget management, job searches, all of those are not skills that they have been able to learn. And so when youth come to this house, what they will find is a place where there is home and love and structure and support, and maybe for the first time in their lives being given the message that they matter, that they are worthy of love and attention. And so that's what we're really celebrating today, that we have this place where they can do that. And so I want to introduce to you someone I'm very honored to introduce, and his name is Justice Bill Levin. And Justice is going to share his story. He is a former homeless youth who can speak firsthand of what that experience was like. And Jackson Street has made a huge difference in his life. And what's really, really cool is that Justice is now on staff. He's also a little tired this morning. He worked a graveyard, the fourth of four graveyard shifts in a row, and I would just ask you to recognize Justice with your applause.
Jackson Street's been a huge part of my life since I was 15 years old.
Can I hear you, Justice?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. Jackson Street's been a huge part of my life since I was about 15 years old. I had parents, but they weren't really around. I was able to come and go as I pleased. Didn't have to come home at any certain time. Kind of just did what I wanted to. I ended up getting myself into some trouble. I became addicted to some pretty heavy drugs as a teenager. And then I came to Jackson Street, and I met a lot of staff and a lot of supervisors that genuinely care for the youth in the community. And they were there for me for everything. They were there for me for my addiction, They were there for me through sobriety. They were there for me through all the ups and the downs. They were there for me when I was incarcerated. They were there for me when I got out. And now I am proud to say that I am a full-time staff member here at Jackson Street, and I am also a full-time dad and husband now. My juvenile record has been completely expunged. Yeah, I just trying to move forward with my life and trying to give back to these kids what was given to me. And now I just want to introduce the executive director of Jackson Street, Ian Craig.
Thank you, Justice. And welcome again to all of you here. This is a great turnout. I'm so happy to see everybody. When I look at this house, I feel gratitude for the many people who've come along beside Jackson Street. I'd especially like to thank our board of directors for your thoughtful guidance and serious enthusiasm. Our ambassadors for staying in the loop as community leaders and making important connections as we close the gap in making this house a reality. Our many community partners with whom we could not do this work, particularly our friends at FACT and the Lynn County Schools, the Juvenile Department, and other social service agencies, and the Department of Human Services, who make referrals and collaborate for the best care of the youth. We truly do not do this work alone. If you're representing any of these groups today, please stand up and be recognized. Or raise your hand. I know you're already standing. Come on. I'd like to thank our contractor, Gabe Miller, at Top Form Contracting for his dedication to this project and seeing it through. Other structural and basic safety measures were completed by the knowledge and generosity of Access Electric, Even Flow Plumbing, Midway Plumbing, Jim at Albany Lock and Key, Professional Security Alarm, Mid-Valley Wood Floors, and Valley Fire Control. Thank you again. When I look at this house, I also feel hopeful for the many youth who will access emergency and respite housing in their own community for many, many years ahead, and for the families who will be reunited and stronger because of the help that they sought here. This transformation is due largely to the amazing staff of dedicated employees who choose to provide the best support to each and every youth and family that we interact with. I'd especially like to thank Kendra, our program director, Andrea, our grants officer and project manager, I'd like to thank all of the staff at Jackson Street because every single staff pitched in and helped make this a reality. Thank you all. Now, please join me in welcoming Tori Lynn of the Lynn County Juvenile Department.
Thank you. You guys are okay in the back? You're gonna have those up here, so. Thank you again for being here. I know that's been said a couple of times. I don't think we can say that enough. To have this group here and the support that's continuing to be shown in our community, that's what's really going to make this work. I've been waiting for this day to occur for a long time. I've been involved in a number of different planning efforts to start a shelter in this community. 2 different times in my 20-year career with the juvenile department that I've started a planning session. We've had meetings, bi-weekly or once a month for over a year, and it just didn't quite work. And so when this process started back in 2008, I think when we first started conversations about really getting a shelter going again here in Albany, I was a little bit reluctant to jump right on that bandwagon. And so, I've been through that experience several times, and it didn't quite work out. And so, in my head, I was thinking it really has to be a community-driven effort if this is going to work. And at that time, there was a young man in our community, a youth pastor, who was just excited as all get out, and he was a great convener of bringing people together, bringing agencies together, and really engaging in the community. Jackson Street was invited to the table right at the beginning, and kind of started to build from there. But it's been a very long process, as we're all aware of, from 2008 to today to actually get to this day. So that's been just a great journey. I got to give a lot of credit to Ann. She talked a little bit about the staff, but they've definitely been the lead. They've been pushing really hard and looking for different avenues, talking to a lot of different people, looking for grants. So without her effort and the effort of the Jackson Street staff in support of this, again, this wouldn't be happening today. The reason this is happening is because it is a community-driven effort. If it was agencies or departments that were doing this, the funding goes up and down with agencies, and really having this to be able to happen, it has to be a community-driven effort. I think Ann has done a really good job of engaging the community, trying to get different partners in place, talking to different church organizations, and it really has been a very good community effort to get us to this day. Again, and just recognizing other people and individuals who have helped make this happen. In my job, I get to see firsthand some of the need for services that are going to be here at this shelter. We know that Jackson Street didn't do this alone, and so we want to also recognize the City of Albany, the Albany Soroptimist, Albany Rotary Club, Albany Kiwanis Club, First Christian Church in Albany, Albany Mennonite Church, St. Albans Episcopal Church, the Grove Church, Meyer Memorial Trust, the State of Oregon Youth Development Council, and there's been many individual donors, too many to list out here today.
And I just got a check from Oregon Freeze Drive.
So our job now is to move forward. We're here today to kind of kick this thing off and get it going. The shelter is going to provide some great opportunities for youth in our community. Our job now is to advocate and gather additional supports for these youth so that they can become successful in our community. Thank you for giving them the opportunity. Thank you for being here today. But more than anything, thank you for supporting Jackson Street Youth Shelter in this process. It's a great pleasure that I get the opportunity to introduce a true advocate for youth. I've had the opportunity to work closely with State Representative Andy Olson on several bills in the Oregon legislature which impact youth in our community. Representative Olson has been a champion for many years on many issues since his days with the Oregon State Police. I've had an opportunity to work with Senator Representative. I just gave you a new job title. I've had an opportunity to work with Representative Olson during my career with the Juvenile Department when he was with the Oregon State Police. Although his career has changed, his heart never has. He's been a great advocate for youth in our community, has never wavered. So please welcome Representative Andy Olson.
You're bad. Okay, so I just have a real quick question. All those that are standing out on the sidewalk, do you like the sun that well that you're going to stay there for another half hour? Okay, so anyways, this is really an honor. Can you hear me okay without that? Ray, that's bad. He just told me to just swallow it. Okay. So anyways, this is really an honor for me to be, and you can hear me okay with this right now? What's that? Yeah, okay, look. Here's the problem. There's too many people out here right now, I know. This is really a good deal. Okay, so, and I just really want to take a moment. I know Corey said a few things to you just a little bit ago, but I want to say thank you so much because 11 years ago, you stepped up to the plate to be the executive director of Jackson Street. And I mean, you brought your heart with you and you brought vision as well. So I just want to say thank you. That'll be the last nice thing I say now. Okay. There's two bills that I want to share with you that happened up in the Oregon legislature this last session. First one was House Bill 2232. That was signed by Governor Brown on May 26th. And basically what it does, it orders the Department of Human Services to create an advisory committee with the job of coordinating statewide services for runaways and homeless kids. And at the same time, Department of Human Services will then submit a report and testify in front of the Ways and Means Committee for Human Services every September. So, and I'll kind of share a little bit more about that too as I go through this. The other one too is House Bill 5026. Now that was the budget for DHS. And in that bill, there was a budget note that, and that was the subcommittee that I was on for Human Services, which I was pleased to know, but I didn't get the whole picture at the time, I gotta tell you. That we approved $1.6 million from general fund dollars for a homeless and runaway youth program, and which, well, but when I explain a little bit more to you about it, and the more I get deeper into this, 1.6 isn't where we need to be. We actually need to be up in the neighborhood of about 2.8, almost close to 3. So what it means is that, for me, next time this surfaces in the legislature for a budget, we get that amount for you. And then the second thing is, right now, it means that you have to work a little extra for donations for people contributing, like what you're hearing already today. But on the other hand, plugs us all into it. Okay, now one other thing I forgot. Do my sunglasses bother you? Train bottom. So, now you gotta understand, back in the old days when I used to work the road with state police, I always was courteous and took my sunglasses off when I met with people. I would always take my sunglasses off when I met with a customer behind the street. And it's just because I was courteous with them. But I don't feel like being courteous right now. 12 years ago. Okay, now the train's gone. Now I can move on. But one thing that what we did with that budget note for the 1.6 million, it also supports the local programs, providing services such as street outreach, day drop-in, and overnight shelter for unaccompanied minors. Now that's exactly what we're doing here. That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, we're getting it from the legislative side. We're not getting it for how much we need to kick in. But that's why I think also the original bill I mentioned to you, House Bill 2232, is there now, because we're going to get the opportunity to measure it and come back and give you a more accurate number of what you need for support. Why would the legislature? I ask this question now as I think more about it. Why would the legislature support these two bills? Well, it's pretty simple. One, I think, is that there's a need, and that need is actually to be there for our future generations. If we don't take this opportunity now, what is this country going to look like? What is this neighborhood, what is this state going to look like 20 years from now. So you have the heart to be here to deal with that and to be prepared for the future.